It's nearly 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning, and I'm finishing up a bottle of Malbec. A Magnum, in fact. And the Denver Broncos are interested in Marquette King. The Denver Broncos, who play at a higher elevation than any other team in the NFL. And they're interested in adding this particular weapon to their arsenal. You know why? Other than the fact that they play at a high elevation, they're not that good of a team. So naturally they need a punter like this. This is why the Raiders went out, got him. If you're a good team, you don't actually need a great punter, because this isn't the 70s anymore. You don't have to worry about the steel curtain anymore, or the orange crush, or whatever. You have to worry about scoring, because the league rules allow wide receivers carte blanche. And there's no excuse. There's no excuse for wide receiver not to excel in this league now, and a quarterback to excel. Now that the Raiders have actually elevated their intelligence on wide receiver and got a little less fashionable, no more jewelry injuries with Jordy Nelson, the Raiders should excel on offense. The way I always remember it is Marquette King wasn't so much a really great punter as the Raiders' gunners were at down and punts. He had Andre Holmes. And then last year, surprisingly, Cordell Patterson came in, and he was awesome at that as well. I think Andre Holmes was a little better, but he played on a lot worse teams and had to do that more often. But that's really where it comes down to. He can try to pin the ball anytime he wants. Raiders have the ball on the 5-yard line, they're in trouble, right? The Raiders are going to be a running team. They're going to be old-fashioned Raiders. A lot of Raider fans don't understand that. I want to preach it over and over. Raider football is not just throwing the pass 100 times a game. It's not even that. Traditional Raider football is not, Jeff George, or rather Jay Schrader, just throwing the ball all the time and just getting sacked, throwing interceptions. Well, they threw a lot of interceptions because they weren't really like gifted quarterbacks. They didn't have golden arms like Derek Carr. I don't care if it was Stabler or even Plunkett. Plunkett had a strong arm and everything, but it wasn't in the class of Derek Carr. And they didn't do that even when that happened. What they did was they ran the ball over and over. Even if it was only 3 yards, they still ran the ball, and they were very physical. They used to wear teams down. Like I said in another video, there used to be a stat. This is old-fashioned analytics. I didn't come up with it. It was a stat I think I remember was mentioned on Monday Night Football. It had something to do with, even if the Raiders lost a game, the team they played lost next week. They had a high percentage of that happening because they beat the other team up so bad. Yeah, that's what John Gruden's turned the clock back to. He's not turning back to 1998. He's turning it back to 1976. Or even before then. Because that's how Raider football was. You ran the ball with a fullback, a halfback, and you did play action pass, and you went deep. That's what's going to happen. Amari Cooper is going to be unleashed, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, John Gruden has big plans for Amari Cooper. He doesn't want him being used like he's been. I mean, just it's like he's playing against a brick wall since he's entered the league. He's not very good at getting off the line. He's a little bit of a soft of a player. And he is going to be taught a different way how to play. He's going to be utilized in a different way. The Raiders are going to have some growing pains, as I've mentioned, because John Gruden's definitely going to use some motion. Notice the Raiders never used motion too much. Motion is pretty complex on an offense because it requires discipline, unlike Marquette King. You have to be disciplined. You have to know that only one guy or whatever can move it once, and after it's set and whatever, you have to. It gets complex. I'm not a football player. I'm not a football expert. But I just know it gets complex, and the Raiders in the past have had problems with that. But Tim Brown was used over the years to get open by putting him in motion. It helped him get off the line, and it helped keep moving the chains. Remember, under Jeff Hostetler, it was just, that was his weapon. His only weapon was bad. And he would get open all the time. Even if it was 5 yards, 7 yards. Just always keeping it positive. And that is how the Raiders are going to be. But they're going to take shots downfield. You're going to see some touchdowns with Amari Cooper, and there's not going to be anyone around him for 20 yards. You're going to see those type of shots. It's going to be really good. And for that, you don't need a great punter. You need a punter, and they can replace him, and they can get basically the production that Marquette King got. I mean, the Raiders' offense should be very effective this year. It should work like a well-oiled machine, because it's going to have to work. John Gruden's not going to settle for it not working. He wants efficiency. On April 9th, he plans on really running them through the ringer. Getting heartburn from this. It's 8 a.m. wine. Actually, I started at 7. Had some leftover pizza. Pizza and wine. It's an American thing. But they don't need Marquette King. They got Marquette King when they really sucked. That's when they got him. Oh, this is how we'll move the field position. We'll just kick these booming punts. But you see, what the Raiders have now, if Denver signs him, is they got someone they know they can trigger. Yeah. That's why John Gruden got rid of him, because he's easily triggered. That's why John Gruden got rid of Crabtree, because he's easily triggered. All you need to do with Crabtree is yank his chain, and he's gonna blow up at you. Just rip his chain off, and he will blow up at you and get a 15-yard penalty. It's part of the uniform, so you can rip it off. It's fair play. Don't even, if those stupid Raider defenders are gonna oh, that's demeaning to my boy. If they're gonna act like that, they need to get off the team. They're playing the Ravens, or what? He went to the Ravens, right? If they're playing the Ravens, and if they don't target that chain, I got a problem with that. I would think Gruden would have a problem with that. You yank that chain right off, and you whip it into the stands. Yeah. And then you let him attack you. And then you play victim. He gets his team gets the 15-yard penalty, gets ejected, and that's a win. Marquette King, easily triggered. Easily triggered. All you need to use is words with him. Trigger him, make a punter, get a 15-yard penalty. He punts the ball, and you got on the 20-yard line, and you go right up to him, and you start talking trash to him. You trigger him. You find out what makes him tick. I don't know. It could be about his mother, his sister. I don't care. You're going to trigger him. You're going to trigger him. You're not going to let the referees. You don't do it in front of the referees, but you make sure you trigger him, and then you make sure you fall on the ground when he attacks you. And just, you got to be a little bit of an actor. And all of a sudden, that ball is not on the 20-yard line anymore. It's on the 35-yard line. Or it could be even worse. It could be that they were pinned back, and all of a sudden it's going from the 50 minus 15 yards to 35. That's what you do with him. Once you identify a distraction like that, you use him. Yeah. Don't become a distraction. That's what John Madden said. That's what he told Cliff Ranch. Don't spike the ball. Don't become a distraction. Even though John Gruden doesn't believe in that. He believes in celebrating. I believe you don't. I'm more like Jerry Rice. Hand the ball to the official. Don't become a distraction. Don't bring all that attention on you. Because someone's watching you and they're gonna figure out how to trigger you. But let them pick him up. Raiders should be able to get a couple 15-yard penalties a game. Yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. 8:10 in the morning with a couple more glasses of Malbec.